Hello, what's up everyone? If you're new here, welcome. I'm Chardeney. I'm a podcaster, videographer, and creative entrepreneur. And today I'm going to be talking about what I learned as an entrepreneur in 2022. I'm going to be sharing some of my highlights and things that went well last year. I'm also going to be sharing a few challenges I encountered and some things that didn't go so well. I'm going to share a few takeaways and things that I learned as a freelance entrepreneur, and try to wrap things up by sharing some of my goals for 2023 and what I hope for the future. Now, just a quick heads up, I do have my iPad here. I'll occasionally be looking down at it to reference it so that way I am not rambling and talking you all's ear off. And also, I have tried to record this video so many times, just trying to flesh out my thoughts, and all I'm going to say is just bear with me. I also live in the city, so you may occasionally hear my dog or a few city life vibes in the background. But like I said, I think some of the things that I will be sharing will be helpful for anybody who is in the early stages of entrepreneurship. I kind of just wanted to have a sit down chit chat and share some of the things that I encountered and just, tell y'all about my journey and my experience. So these are my highlights from 2022. Okay, so first things first, the number of clients and projects I worked on last year for my videography business was the most I've ever worked with. I had at least 2 clients per month last year, or at least projects that were 3 to 6 month long projects. And I also had the opportunity to work with one of my dream clients, which was the McBride Sisters and the She Can Fund Foundation. I started doing some real estate videos. I worked on a documentary. I filmed an agriculture transformation project. And on a personal note, I purchased one of my dream cars, which was a Jeep Wrangler. Now, I know that was a mouthful, but before I jump into everything else, I want to touch on one of these projects in particular because never would I have imagined that I would have worked with one of my dream clients, especially this early on in my career as a freelance videographer. While I've been working with audio and video for over several years now, however, on paper, my company is still under 2 years old. Like, it's still a baby. It's still very new and near and dear to me. And I want to share this quick story, not to brag, but to just share what I experienced, because it was truly a surreal moment. And I'm grateful, blessed, and just feeling all the things. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge that it happened and share my excitement with y'all. So I had an opportunity to go and document and film a project that they were working on. And one day I was watching YouTube. FYI, I watched YouTube like it's a regular television program, but YouTube was on autoplay this day, and it went into talking about a video where they were sharing the story about the journey of the McBride sisters and sharing their company's origin story. And in the midst of them sharing their story, an image I captured appeared on the TV. And I was like, OMG, that's me. Well, it was one of the photos that I had captured from the project that I worked on earlier this year. And now here it is being used to share their story. And in that moment, I just felt like a proud artist, because not only was the project a cool project, but I was actually there to witness it, to watch it, to capture it. And now something that I did is being used to share this moment with others. And I just really enjoy being able to share positive and uplifting stories. A quick little fun fact, I'm going to take a tangent from my notes, but a fun fact is I really enjoy movies and shows, or just something that I can watch that has a good storyline, an uplifting storyline. And to give you all an example, some shows and movies that I like are Girls Trip, Harlem, 20s, First Wives Club, or just, like I said, any feel-good documentary or film. That's my thing. I'm into it. But anywho, back on topic. I can't quite explain it, but it was just a dope feeling, and again, an unexplainable feeling, but it was history in the making for me. And I just hope that I'm able to have more opportunities where I'm able to capture these types of moments, especially moments of capturing Black joy and excellence, and just continuing to share my craft with others. I also want to share this because I know that I am still a work in progress, and with any of my clients, they could have chose to work with anyone, but instead they chose to work with me for whatever the case may be, whether it be my work, my personality, or just simply my availability. Whatever the case may be, I am truly, truly grateful. And I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos that for the longest, I let the lack of equipment or the fear of things not being perfect stop me from putting myself and my work out there. And I'm not saying I'm the best at what I do, but I am doing the best that I can do each time I get hired for a project. And honestly, that's all I can do. And that's all anyone can ever do. And I just had to constantly remind myself that, you're doing the best you can and to keep doing. I'm doing the best I can and to just keep going. So something I thought about and I reflected on before I sat down to do this video and share with y'all was, if I never put myself out there and I just kept waiting until things were perfect, then I would have missed out on so many other things and opportunities. I wouldn't be able to create these types of videos I create now. I wouldn't be able to share a reflection video about the things I learned, because let's be real, if you do it and it's perfect the first time, what else is there to share? And I'm one of those people who likes to cherish a memory and a moment. And I think you learn the most from getting real life experience in the field. And I've just learned to appreciate and trust the process and just really enjoy the journey that I'm on. And it's just, I don't know, y'all. I've just really been in my feelings this past year. And I'm also saying all of this to say that if it's something you want to do, don't let comparison get in your way. Don't sit on your ideas, because you'll be disappointed watching others do the things that you want to do. And let the vision of where you want to be the fuel to push you to keep going, to keep getting better, and to just keep doing your thing. And even if it doesn't work, just try it. At least you tried it. There's even been moments where I thought I wanted to be a DJ at some point. That didn't work out, but I felt good taking a different path and letting that go, because I at least gave myself the opportunity to try it. And I feel like that's the journey that entrepreneurship takes you on. It gives you the freedom and the flexibility to try out things and see if it works. But also something that I've been doing is giving myself grace to be like, okay, this may or may not work out, but at least I tried it. And I think it's so easy to sit and be bitter, but I guarantee you will always win knowing that you at least tried and you went after the things that you wanted. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get off my soapbox and let's get into some of my takeaways and things that I learned from last year. So one of the key things I learned from last year was, it's not about what you like, it's what the client wants. And I'm going to elaborate on this just a little bit, because as an artist or as an entrepreneur, it can be very easy for you to get tied or feel really closely connected to a project. And you have to realize, like, the client hired you for a reason. They hired you because they have a specific thing in mind. And not all the times will your perspective or take on things align with the client. But something that I did learn is that it's okay to check in with the client. It's okay to say, hey, you know what you wanted me to do, this is what it's looking like. I just wanted to share this with you so you're aware of it, so that way when I give you the final deliverable, you're aware of how this came out. Or you might just want to gently nudge and say, hey, I don't think this is the best angle, or I don't think this is the best approach. Can we try this, so that way we have a few different options for you to choose from and for you to work with. And it is okay to not be so closely tied to a project. It's not about what you like, it's what the client wants. And this leads me to something else, which was, I learned that you just have to stick to what you know when you're trying something in the field for the first time. As I mentioned, I worked on a ton of different projects last year, and occasionally there were a few things that were new. Not every event is the same, not every client is the same. And so there will be some things that pop up that are new every now and then. And in this industry, clients may hire you or want to work with you because they saw something in one of your previous projects that stood out to them. And something that I learned to do, especially in the discovery call or the initial conversation with prospective clients, is I like to ask them, is there something in particular that stood out to you in any of my past projects or previous work, or something that's already out there that I may not already have in my portfolio that you would like me to similarly create for you? This is super helpful because you learn what people like and you can do more of it. And when you get hired by them, you can stick to what you know in the field. And I think that this is super helpful, and it was a very important takeaway for me because I learned how I can continue to grow as a person. I learned how I can continue to shift and change as an entrepreneur. And something else that I feel like that it does, I feel like it builds confidence in your craft, because you will leave that shoot knowing that you at least captured exactly what the client wanted. So when I say stick to what you know, in that discovery call, if they tell me they specifically like this, and this, as soon as I go out into the field, if time permits, I'm going to make sure that I capture that thing that they told me that they wanted or that they liked first. So that way, the rest of the time that I'm there filming, I feel confident, I feel comfortable, because I know I'm going to leave there getting exactly what it is that they wanted, or at least have one thing inside of my camera that the client is going to like. And it's just going to put a little bit more ease of mind and stress to, especially if it's like a wedding or just like a chaotic event. It builds so much confidence to just stick to what you know, capture it, and keep it pushing. Now, let's talk challenges. The biggest challenge for me as an adult and also as an entrepreneur is establishing a routine. And that's because life be lifing. But I did manage to develop some sort of system and routine for tackling projects. I read the 12-week work year, and I've been applying it to my business and content creation strategy. So essentially, all I have to do is stick to the plan. I have to get out of my feelings and get in my bag and just stick to the plan. And this may be TMI, but I'm going to tell you all anyways. But I'm a recovering people pleaser. So that's what I mean when I say I have to get out of my feelings and get into my bag, because as an entrepreneur, you will encounter moments when people want favors, discounts, or additional services that require more of your time. And as an entrepreneur, one of the things that are important is setting healthy boundaries with clients and time management. I can elaborate more on this topic, but that's a different video for a different day. I had a few moments come up last year where clients wanted me to film at the last minute or add additional shoots into our original agreed upon timeline. And it just shifted so many projects and my calendar. And I had to come to terms that I have to set really firm terms and boundaries as an entrepreneur. And I think this is the case with any entrepreneur, especially if you are in a service-based business, such as like a mechanic, a hairstylist, a nail tech. You know, if someone comes in asking to be squeezed in or to do a favor, that it can really put a strain on you and the business in some way, shape, or form, because there's only so much time in a day and only so much people can do. So at some point, I'll talk about knowing when to hire a videographer versus a video production company for projects. It will probably be like a blog or a video, but essentially, time management is key as an entrepreneur. This year, I had to also get comfortable being a work in progress. I worked on a ton of stuff last year, both personal and professional, and there were a lot of times when I just wanted things to be done. But a lot of times I had to just sit with it and revise it at a later time, because I might not have had all the assets that I needed from a client, or the project was still an ongoing project. This made me sit back and reflect and start looking at my work as a portfolio and as a collection of work instead of just a one-off project. There was a big mindset shift and question I started asking myself, such as, How does this build on to projects I previously worked on? And does this tie into what I want to do in the future? So you will see more of this reflected throughout my business, my channel, and my personal brand, because my personal theme for this year is consistency and cohesion. And like I said, when I sat down and reflected, like, how does this incoming project, how does it fit in with things that I've previously done, where I want to be in the future? It also, in a way, it creates boundaries for you as an entrepreneur, especially if you are in the early phases or the early years of building your business or your clientele. If you start to look at your work as a portfolio and a long-term thing, you can automatically decide as soon as someone comes in contact with you and you have that conversation, like, is this a good fit or not? And it's one of the ways that you can start to manage your time, set boundaries, things of that nature. Just a heads up for those of you who are new here and might have just stumbled on one of my videos for the very first time. My channel is focusing more on the lifestyle of working within this industry, and I'm providing you all with the behind the scenes, not only from a technical point of view, but also from like a point of view of a lifestyle of what it's like to be a creator or entrepreneur. And there are tons of other channels out there that solely provide you with the technical point of view, but I also thought it would be helpful to share like the customer service aspect, the admin aspect, and the things that are not really being touched on when you decide to pursue this creative life or the entrepreneurship life. Because I jokingly say this, but life is kind of like a math problem, and I hate math. But at the end of the day, you have to show your work. And I think a lot of creators or entrepreneurs have mastered showing the beautiful part of their work, but never discuss how their work affects their lifestyle, and they both are connected. This year, the lesson that hit me hard again, unfortunately, especially as a small business / freelancer, is planning for the unexpected. If you are a subscriber or follow me on other platforms, I've shared that my grandmother passed away over the holidays toward the end of the year, and it hit me pretty hard. I may or may not create a video talking about grief as an entrepreneur and capitalism, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to put it like this. Even if life stops, the world still keeps going on. So you have to as well. Otherwise, life will go on without you. And that's a hard pill I had to swallow. I had to just find different ways to get myself out of a rut, a creative rut, and just like, going through the emotions and going through the things. And it absolutely sucks because there's no timeline on grief. 1 minute you can be fine and the next you're not. But as a content creator or freelancer or entrepreneur, especially a solo entrepreneur, you just have to plan for the unexpected. So it pushed me to think, how can I create a system or process that gives me this soft life as a creative? And the truth is, y'all, I need an assistant. So this leads me to my goals for this year. Some of my goals are, again, the theme for this year for me is consistency and cohesion. And I want to be consistent in showing up for myself personally and professionally. So what that looks like is consistently going to the gym, consistently uploading to YouTube, and consistently finding new ways to improve my business. I feel like if I lock in on these 3 things, this will be the foundation of accomplishing everything else I want to achieve. As I mentioned earlier, I really enjoy working with the She Can Fund and the McBride sisters. I would like to work with more Black-owned drink and spirit companies. Last year, I reached out and started pitching myself to a few companies, but we'll see how this year goes. I got a Jeep last year, and eventually I will share some of the footage with you all about my car buying process. But since I got it, I've really been into taking photos and videos of my car, and it would be nice to film or lean into doing more car related videos, or who knows, partner with a car company, because I'm low-key really into cars, but the way my account is set up, it's not a hobby I can fully get into at the moment. But to say the least, absolutely love my Jeep. And I want to hire a personal assistant and video editor. I prefer that this is one person and not two separate people because I already have a lot going on. I will have to train two separate people and I don't have the capacity for that at the moment. One of my reach goals or aspirations for this upcoming year is to get pulled into a focus group of some sort, but not just any focus group. I like to be someone who provides feedback on one of these like camera, tech / gear / car / related product and development teams. I don't really know what it's called, but I'm sure it's something out there. But I want to be pulled in because as someone who uses many tools within this industry, especially working with audio and video, and as a freelance creator or an entrepreneur or just an everyday consumer, I realize there is a huge disconnect. On a personal tip, I think about how things like something as simple as a smart TV, it leaves out a whole age group of people who just can't keep up with all the new updates. And I actually remember there was a moment where I was simply trying to help my grandmother navigate through the window on the TV, or just trying to show her how to use a feature on the television. And I just feel like some things have just gotten way more complicated than it has to be. And on a professional tip, the tools I even use as a videographer are always updating and changing, and I have to constantly learn and stay up to date with the latest tools. And sometimes I question, like, is this even sustainable for me long term? And I get it. You should always stay curious, continue to learn, and never, be stagnant. But at the rate that everything is going, it still feels like we're moving at such a fast pace. And there have even been moments where, for example, I've needed to use cloud management software for transferring and storing large digital files, but in order for me to use the program, I've had to know how to do some form of coding, do Python, download 5 other apps and software just to use the program. And I'm looking like, I film and edit videos. Who has the time for all of this other extra stuff? And I'm sure there are other people who want to use certain programs that are out there or software that are out there, but it's just not functional for the common person. And I feel like this not only happens in just maybe the field that I'm in, I feel like it's happened in so many other aspects. And I'm going to go on a quick tangent outside of my notes, but I feel like even as it relates to social media, in the earlier days of social media, MySpace, there were people who could code and do HTML and make their website or their page look super dope. But then there were also people who wasn't into all of that, and they will opt into using things such as Facebook and Tagged or whatever other social platform that was out there. And today, I see it in the same instance when it comes to things like the Adobe Creative Suite. There are people who know how to use the Adobe Creative Suite, but then there are people who use Canva because it's tailored more toward the everyday person and it's user friendly. And I see the biggest disconnect in terms of admin tools and products that are just not setting freelancers, creatives, or the next generation up for success, especially if you're someone who is becoming a solo entrepreneur, especially during these remote times. So again, this is a reach goal, but just thought I would put it out there and just share that's something that I would be interested in doing. Anywho, I don't want to make this a lengthy video, so to say the least, I'm trying out a few things over here on my end, but if you know someone or a company that helps with any of the things that I've mentioned, let me know, send them my way. Send me an email, drop a comment in the comment section. Just let me know, keep me posted. And I just figured I would put it all out there and share with you all what's been going on over here behind the scenes. Because overall, I captured so much footage, both personal, professional, behind the scenes footage last year, the year before last. And I want to share it with y'all. But I need some help. I need some help with editing and other administrative tasks. In the process of building this, I guess you can call this online creative community, I realized there are some folks who are interested in seeing some of the video projects I worked on, or even seeing some of the working documents I use as a creator or as a solo entrepreneur, systems I use to stay organized, because if you've watched any of my other videos on my channel, I talk about how I juggle a full-time job as well as being a freelancer, and so on and so forth. One of the things that are in the works is I created a separate YouTube channel where you can see client work and past projects I've worked on, and pretty soon I'll be launching a Patreon, because y'all, this stuff takes time, and if I want to create more content for YouTube and continue to provide you all with behind the scenes footage without interfering with the quality of my work, then I'm going to need some help. So stay tuned, and I'll have more videos on the way so you can continue to follow along my journey, and if interested, support me as a creator. So that's all I have to share about recapping last year. Hopefully this video was insightful for someone, and I'll catch you all in my next video.